This is Spam Jam Podcast by First Line Software.
In 2026, AI is already inside the business. On the surface, it looks like a progress, but if you zoom in, a different issue appears. AI is present, but it's not really part of customer experience. It sits on the side, it answers questions, it generates content, but it rarely shapes how decisions are made, how journeys are structured, or how value is actually created. So companies don't have an AI problem, they have a customer journey problem, where AI is not embedded where it matters. Today on Spam Jam, we are talking about where those changes are. How Anthropic Claude moves from being a tool to becoming a part of real customer journey. And where AI actually starts creating business value, not isolated use cases, but inside of the system. Joining me today is our CTO at First Line Software, Pavel. Hi, Pavel.
Hi, Vladimir.
And we'll explore how AI fits into journeys, where it breaks, and what it takes to design experience where Claude operates as a part of decision-making, not just an interaction. So my first question, Pavel, to you would be, when companies say they are using AI in customer experience, what does that usually looks like in reality?
Oh, it's a big unknown right now in the industry because companies trying to apply AI in different forms and shapes and trying to squeeze value out of that. And I believe the biggest right now still, maybe not still, maybe it's the right way of the industry. It's more like a big subscriptions. So it's more a subscription on OpenAI, it's a subscription on Gemini, it's a subscription on Claude.ai. In that sense, like these are probably the three biggest competitors on the market. And that is a primary use for organizations as of now in terms of revenue. Because some of these instruments are integrated into the workplace tools that enterprises are using for their employees. And then the second level, it's like 2 years in a row of exploring and understanding how to integrate AI into the real workflow and the real customer journey, internal users or actual end users of the enterprise. And that where a lot of experiments happened differs from let's automate everything with AI and replace everything with AI to just let's see like maybe AI can help a little bit here and there. So that usage is not huge yet. So enterprises are still figuring out how to do this right.
Got it. And when you say about like, let's use it a bit, let's just try this part or this fragment of business process, this kind of fragmented approach, how dangerous it is. How dangerous it is not to get the final result, but to stick on this like short fragment of the business process.
I would say it is dangerous. Dangerous is a good word that you have chosen. I'm trying to like play around it. Is it dangerous? I would probably shift it from dangerous to strategic long-term impact. Like to what extent it creates a strategic long-term impact for organizations. And in my mind, like there is a niche, probably we need to step back a little bit. There is a niche for AI, and that niche is more or less obvious. The AI was created to process volumes of information, like use the internal embedded knowledge that already there in the large language models, if you're talking specifically about like latest and greatest version of AI, which everybody perceives as AI nowadays. And then this model can find the right information, can work with that, and then can create meaningful insights that you can put into the action. That's where AI excels. And then like this fragmented approach that you mentioned, it's not about like keeping it fragmented. It's more like applying AI in the right place where these specific tasks are heavy right now in the current business process. And that identification of these tasks in the current business process to like strategically eliminate slowness of human potentially participating in that or current automation and replace it with the extreme speed and moderate quality or great quality or greater quality than human can provide. Let's keep it that way. It's not like absolute. It's more like provide greater quality than humans can do. And that is a challenge for organization because that creates like a necessity to rethink business processes through the different lens. Not right to replace the full activity, not to replace one small operational step there, but actually identify in each steps where these activities like finding information, processing it, and creation of something that makes sense for the next step to proceed to the next step is actually exists. Because in majority of cases, it's not a problem of even identifying these steps, but the problem that information lives in human heads. And while information is still in human heads, AI doesn't have access to it. So you can identify perfect spot for, yes, this is a great place to automate applying AI technology, but then you don't have data. So like how you can do that? AI need data in the digital form. You cannot just squeeze it out of the brains. Brain interfaces are still in development. So maybe in the future it will be something different, but right now it's not possible. So that from that perspective, like to complete my thought, the strategic application of AI is exactly identification of these areas where you can process information quicker, but then you need to have access to this information, and then you need to understand how to split responsibilities between human or system that is responsible right now for this processing and AI. And this split of responsibility, it's the biggest challenge that some applications already figured, and Claude has Anthropic and Claude solutions. They have great examples of that, like Claude Code or Claude Cowork. These are approaches to exactly solving this problem. But widely in the industry, it is still something that the industry is trying to figure out.
I see. Would it be correct to say that a lot of companies are struggling at the moment with how to call it properly, AI transformation, because what they do and what they're trying to do is just leave the business process as it is and try to put AI on top of that and see how it works without rethinking the way how company behave.
I would say so, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what is happening. So it's more like a traditional process reengineering activities. In the most advanced, it's more like a traditional process engineering activities when they reconsidering process, how to make it quicker, cheaper, and that's like the best what they can do. But the complexity of AI implementation that you need not just to re-engineer the process, you also need to re-engineer what actually people are responsible for in this process and how to split responsibilities from something that is not digestible, verbalized yet, into something that is already verbalized, and you have this in digital world. And everything that you have in digital world, it's definitely a go-to place for AI, and everything that you don't have in digital world, it's definitely go-to place for human to be part of the process. And that's a different kind of slice. It's not like by pieces of the process. It's not even like horizontal. It's like very precise look at what you have and how you can offload human from this cognitive overload of processing data. That is important to make a decision and like generate all these insights for the next step and next decision. That's a totally new engineering, and such engineering is just like happening naturally. People are stepping into that thoughtfully, accidentally, so you don't really know. But there is no like industry-wide approach and methodology yet developed for such engineering.
I see. But I believe that, for example, the area where we are, like a software engineering part, is adopting quite rapidly. So can you give, maybe in that area, maybe in another area, can you give an example of this kind of business process re-engineering, maybe from software engineering part, if it's easier?
Yeah, definitely. That's like the weirdest part in software engineering, software development industry, that we kind of tend, we don't have any limitations here to ask for any permission from any business owner kind of. Yeah, we can apply new technology to ourselves And that is what actually puts software development industry, software creation industry in front of that transformational wave. And that what we see right now already happening, like for the last couple of years, there were a lot of experiments. Industry been building different tools and started from the simple idea, as probably happening right now in majority of businesses. Let's have helpers to human be even smarter. And that's what happened with the first versions of Cursor, with the first versions of Windsurf. Copilot, GitHub Copilot was definitely like on the first set of tools like that. And making people smarter only brought like percentages of efficiency. It's still human in the bottleneck here. Human makes all decisions, humans in the driving seat. There is no like split of responsibility, so you can really speed up activities. But then some early things start happening when industry looked at the so-called agentic development. And this is where you can start delegating some of your tasks and some of your activities to AI, like turnkey. You give in the task and then you verify what's happened at the end, and you don't intervene into the intermediary of that. And industry kind of focused, maybe specifically on Anthropic as a leader, but other model providers as well, focused on teaching models to read and understand code. And as a result, that code generation activity, that is a big part of and big cost of the software engineering, that actually got a capability that right now wrapped up into these agentic tools like Claude Code or Codex CLI or similar tools that are there on the market, enable you to delegate significant part of the effort to AI. And that is coding. And software engineering is not just coding. It's not only about writing the code. It's actually about thinking and engineering piece. But that coding component is better and better delegated right now to AI. And right now we see that because of that specific focus on a specific business process and specific separation of responsibilities between human and AI, what AI can do, humans adjusting. It's actually not about AI to be implemented. It's human to adjust to a new way of working. And that's what is happening in the industry right now, quite quickly and rapidly. And we're getting a lot of multipliers right now. So for some top level skilled people, multipliers might be not just 10x, they might be easily like 50x. And that is tremendous. That's how you see the actual expectations from AI finally landing right here and right now, and you see what it can do. But that required model that understand very specific activity quite well, and then also apply tools and create tools that enable human to use this model in the right places to delegate these responsibilities that model is capable of doing. And we are lucky in the software engineering industry because these models are huge in that sense. They already quite capable. I assume that the future probably not like a generalistic model, but more like the same approach. Each industry slowly and inevitably will get their own specific models that actually extremely knowledgeable in the internals of the activities that happen in this industry. And then such tools definitely will kick off for everyone.
Great. So it was a tricky question. I specifically asked you about software engineering because it's like a core part for you, but let's use this metaphor of how AI changed the software engineering, let's call it business processes, right? And try to apply it to, let's say, customer journey. So do you see that for, let's say, customer journey, the whole journey, not just like conversational AI or chatbot or something, but entire journey, there is already same kind of, I don't know how to properly call it, maybe toolkit, toolset, framework, which can be used to make the same shift there?
Yes and no. I mean, yes, because there are a lot of platforms that allow you to build and host your agents, and the agent can do some specific activity that you embed into this agent. At the same time, there is no like coherent tools similar to what we have in software engineering industry that solely focus and deeply focus on how this model underneath need to be applied, surrounded by so-called harnessing. So it's more like an environment and the specific activities that done not by AI model, but done by the software itself. And this combination of the specificity of the software capabilities and the AI model skills together give that impact. And that like niche very focused for the big industry though, because it's like 20 million software engineers involved. So it's not small. And the impact overall is huge because software is needed by anyone right now. And it's even more demand. And everybody, like it's 20 million professional engineers, but it's also like 8 billion white coders, or maybe not everybody, but like at least few billions for sure white coders because of that, of these capabilities, because you can blindly delegate to that and see to some extent good enough quality, not like enterprise level, but still. Such tools for other industries were not yet developed. Anthropic and their Claude cowork capability, it's a great step forward because in the cowork you have access to a lot of data, just like to the connectors that you allow, and there are a bunch of connectors. And cowork allow you to customize and build skills that are relevant and important for your job execution day to day. That is still not pretty much like industry specific. There are some ideas about industry skills and so on, but that is the right direction because human is in the driving seat and human gets like semi-automatic creation of the right software embedded into another software that actually unleashes and enable the delegation to AI of this cognitive overload that is about it.
That's cool. And if we, for example, you're sitting in the, I know you're not in a CTO place, but if you will be in the sales and marketing area, for example, yeah, and you will think about this customer journey approach, and you have, for example, already Anthropic Claude bought enterprise, I don't know, any type of subscription. What would make you confident that you are in the right stage to start this AI transformation journey? Or what would you focus as the initial steps to make sure that, okay, now it's time, now I'm ready to make this like transformation step by step? How would you do it?
I would do that probably a similar way as we do in first line software internally for software engineering. I would first of all identify the most knowledgeable people in this sales and marketing organization. And preferably it's not just subject matter knowledge, but also some managerial skills as well. Maybe not a huge one, because that split of responsibility for a human, it's actually a delegation skill. So you need to be able to delegate your part of your responsibilities to someone. And that someone in the past used to be humans, right? So you split your responsibilities between humans. But in modern world, part of these human activities that you used to delegate to is actually, we call them silicon engineers. So that's actually AI version of some responsibilities and tasks. So identification of these experts in the industry and also people who have delegation skills and enable them with the tool set, educating them on the tool set and empowering them in terms of you can use it, you need to apply it, you need to see how to make an impact on the day-to-day job, like giving them some slack for this experimentation, for this kind of pet activities, creates that core knowledge in the organization. So that core knowledge, then you can think to what extent you can scale it up to the whole organization, or maybe with this core knowledge, you will figure that some parts of the organization need to be completely transformed. So people from doing something need to be uplifted from this cognitive overload, highly cognitive overloading activities and move to the more like more human can do intuition, understanding, innovation, great ideas, all this like creative part of the human existence. And you can move these people into creative part that probably suffered because in the overload, like, I don't want to judge like sales and marketing 20% creativity, 80% of execution. If you can flip this over and 20% of execution and 80% of creativity, first of all, your people will be happy. And second of all, you highly likely will produce more creative results as a result of that. So, and everybody in your team will be. So one more time, starting from subject matter experts with some delegation skills. Maybe not like managers, but original delegation skills are there. And empower them, give them some slack to actually give them time and space to think and experiment with their job. And that what definitely helped and helping right now for the software engineering. That's exactly what we do internally. That's what creates a new quality of everything that we do.
That's a good approach. But what to do with the, the cases that people, and not, I mean, in all industries, I believe, they're just afraid to, let's say, hand over control and, let's say, process management and logic to AI. So how to find this proper balance between, for example, what Anthropic Claude and its toolset can do with the kind of proper level of control without maybe micromanagement as well. Yeah, how to find this proper balance so you gain the efficiency, but you're not losing the control itself. Because yeah, people are afraid to lose this control. Companies definitely afraid to lose this control, especially if you're talking about such a critical areas and you're working with clients and so on and so forth.
That is a part of transformation, for sure. Because for software engineering industry, like we always have had, and we have quality assurance part of the process. So how to make sure that the final result is actually good quality. We used to do that in the different forms, from the simple, like just manual testing of the application, maybe like the simplest version by end users, and then like to more and more complex automation of these quality assurance activities. And with AI, with the actual depth that it can create in terms of software changes, and we are not in the controlling seat of that, quality assurance in the practice becomes super critical. It's like mission critical. Creating these quality control gates and ensuring that the quality of your application is under control, that everything that changes there does not break the application. That is an important part of kind of really developing skills, because that was always part of the software engineers as a responsibility. But industry kind of diluted a little bit that responsibility and delegated that to other roles, like quality assurance people. And that is kind of returning back to the software engineers, because they need to be responsible for that. And that, in that sense, the simplest way to control that for every organization, for every activity, is to have a mandatory, I call this low touch review, when you kind of take a look at the final result, but you don't read it letter by letter. You actually kind of scan it. And if your scanning doesn't give you any warning signals, then you just let it go. So then you don't slow down the activity with its activity, but you kind of still keep pushing. And the beauty of that you might miss something in this scan. But then if you see something is broken, hopefully it's not your business critical process, then you can ask AI to fix it, and then you can fix it quickly, because it will do the job extremely quickly and cheap to some extent. And that is the simplest way. Like this low touch review, that's your first guardrail for ensuring that quality is there. And then like you can add complexity. So if it's a mass process and you cannot expect from any human participating in that, doing this quality control in a good standard, then you need to add evaluation, you need to add just pure quality gates, you need to add another human on top of the human, like we have in software engineering code review activity, which is also transforming right now. It's like, it's not a code review when human reviewing after the AI. It's more like a code review when human with AI reviewing after the AI. So it's a new skill set that needs to be developed, but it's more like a skill set for senior people. So in that sense, like starting from low touch, quick review to making it more and more complex while your process is actually matures and scales.
And how to measure that? I mean, let's take the metaphor again of, let's say, customer journey. Yeah, so we took the subject matter experts, we start doing this transformation, we spend some time, we're using the best top-notch technologies, I don't know, Anthropic, Claude, and all the skills and all the things. How to make sure, how to measure that we are in the right way and that we really gain some results. So what it should be like, okay, I need less people to work on this business process. I'm doing it faster. So what's the best approach to, let's say, somehow identify that, yes, I did it and I have a good result?
You can do that from the formal control of like speed of your process or volume of the work that you used to do and that you are capable of doing that. I'm using more like for my internal use right now, I'm relying more like on the soft metric. And you know what is that soft metric is? When I see that specific expert have been empowered by tools in the right way, he understands or she understands like what is the split of her responsibilities and AI, and then practice that for some time. And then after that time, sometime, I don't know, like typically for great software engineers, it takes like a couple of weeks. For maybe a less experienced person with the technology, it might take longer. But after that time, you kind of return to that person and you ask, okay, so what is your impression? And if the answer is, I have no idea how I can work without it, that is a great signal of something happening right? And in our case, in software engineering industry, I like hear things like, if I don't have these tools at my disposal, it's like stopping a Formula One car and walking again. I don't see how I can walk again. I want to drive this Formula One car because it's fun, it's speed, it's actually a lot of results, and it's a different activity for me. I'm not like just pushing my legs. I'm driving something sophisticated. So like that excitement also about working with innovation in your industry, that also like lights up in their eyes. And that is my soft indicator. So if I see that, then I'm sure that we're on the right track. It's probably not the end of the journey. It's maybe only the beginning, but we're on the right track. And that's like stone rolling down from the hill. So you cannot stop it. So it's already happening. And that's what probably every organization wants to have.
Yeah, I have a challenging question here because, when we hear it a lot of time, when you start talking about this AI journey, AI transformation, companies are saying, okay, ROI, how should I measure it? Numbers, show me numbers, the efficiency, and so on and so forth. What you are saying sounds for me not completely different, but such a more maybe accurate approach. Like, guys, let's start doing it. Let's make sure that we are driving F1 car. Later, maybe next year, we will start measuring ROI and efficiency and so on and so forth. But now it's important, let's say, to choose the right car and start driving. Is it what you are saying?
The first step on the journey is actually to see how people can adapt to AI in their hands. That's like the first step. Before you start thinking about ROI, you need like to see and enable them and empower them to see what actually can be done differently. That's why you probably can give, like, and organizations do that. They give AI to everyone, like a subscription for everyone in the organization. That makes sense, but I'm talking more like about those who I described before. experts in their area, and preferably with some managerial skills, some delegation skills. And then you like give it to them, observe it, and they're like your sandbox. When you see what is happening with them, then you can start projecting what you can do for the organization, for the business process, and how ROI can be actually calculated, what can be embedded into that. The problem right now that because we don't look at that as a human transformation, we look at that as the technology thing, then we apply all our standards. Like it's yet another technology. We just need to put this into the place. And then technology like does what? It automates your activities, which means shorter execution and probably makes it cheaper because like technology on the background probably costs less than the human labor. And that works, but only after you understand what actually you need to put into automation. And to understand it, you need, first of all, have like a playground, sandbox environment where you observe your key people and their way of working, how it changes, and then you enable them and empower them. That's exactly what Claude Code, from my perspective, does right now for the software engineering industry. That is a tool that started from something, and then a lot of observation, a lot of monitoring, a lot of feedback loop from the real industry, what is actually makes sense, how it works, how it doesn't, and then the evolution of this tool to enable activities of everyone, apparently. That's like the natural way to proceed. So it requires a little bit different start point. The final result will be the same. ROI, kind of standard way of calculation, standard way of approaching that. But this experimentation piece, like exploring your own organization, your own area of expertise with AI at hands, that's like what people do not do right now. And that's, I believe, like a missing step in transformation.
So just to wrap up, in one sentence, if company wants to start, if company wants to make AI transformation of customer journey, I don't know, with power of Anthropic Cloud, what should they focus first? Is it technology, the business process, people, something else? In one sentence, if you can summarize.
Company need to have an expertise in the technology for sure. So understanding of the technology is important. And then identify these areas where you have experts in the business field and enable them and empower them with this technology and precisely observe what is happening to then derive decisions how you're going to run the transformation. That's like my long one sentence.
Good one. Thank you. Now, the final part, blitz round, maybe 5 questions, quick answers. Ready? Cool. The most overused AI use case.
Overused. Like I'm lost in this sentence. Obviously, like the most used UI use case right now, software development. Overused. Maybe like in the strangely enough, but I believe sales and marketing right now have a lot of, at least sales, have a lot of AI component there. And obviously, like industry goes there because before you start to leave an organization, you need to sell something. Because without a sale, organization doesn't make sense. And that's why I believe everybody focuses, a lot of people focuses on that automation. And that is to some extent overused because that split of responsibilities that we discussed. And it's very important to understand where a human must be there to make sure and enable that traction and trust that need to be built between sales organizations from your enterprise with your potential prospects. And that like overuse of AI, like pushing forward and making AI responsible for the whole cycle, eliminates this human touch. And that is an overuse from my perspective in the current automation. And that's like a very fine line where it need to be found in the sales process automation.
Okay. One thing that kills AI value fast.
When people compete with it.
Okay, good question.
Yeah, competition with AI doesn't make sense. That the people need to just use it as the offload of your cognitive overload and cognitive functions. And when you compete for these cognitive functions, that's a showstopper. That's like brings you nowhere. And the AI will never object, right? So you ask AI to do something and it will do what you ask. And if you ask like to do little, because you believe that what AI can do, it's your responsibility, that kills AI completely. You just kind of simulate AI usage.
Okay. AI as a tool or AI as enterprise brain?
AI is a tool for sure. So that's a very specific tool in the humanity tool set. We used to have such tools like such innovations in the past. I don't know, from the wheel invention to calculators and computers. Right now it's a new tool. It's a very specific tool that actually capable of taking part of our cognitive functions of the human. That is a very new thing for humanity, but still it is just a tool. It's not a it thing.
Okay. Better, faster responses or better decisions?
Better decisions are always important.
Okay. The final one, the first emotion appears in your mind when you start talking or thinking about the current AI era.
Like it's a combination of two emotions at the same time. It's like fear in your back, spine, with excitement at the same time. It's like a combination of this fear and excitement at the same moment. That's a unique combination of emotions, and that's what I experience when I like go into the after the next corner, and next corner, and next corner, and there are endless number of corners, and you see like that this rabbit hole is still like deep. You're not even close to the bottom. It's still in the journey, and that fear and excitement. It's an unusual time and era to live in, and like the balance here, like don't lose your excitement and don't give it up only to fear. Like if you feel fear, also find a way how to see like an excitement, how things might change, and consider yourself as a change agent. So change agent for yourself. That is extremely important in the current times, because like fear can consume you completely and you will be blocked from any activities that make sense. And that must be done.
Thank you very much, Pavel. Thank you for being with me. It was a pleasure as usual. Very great discussion. And thank you everyone who was listening to us. It was a spam jam powered by First Line Software. I hope you enjoyed and see you soon in the next episode. Bye-bye.
This is Spam Jam Podcast by First Line Software.